The company that I manage, the organization, Olympic Broadcasting Services, is an organization fully controlled by the International Olympic Committee. Our obligation is, our mission is to do what we call the host broadcasting of the Olympic Games. That entails essentially two things. One, to cover all competition events in the Olympic Games and the ceremonies. This, for the summer edition of the Games, amounts to close to 7,000 hours of television production within 17 days. And the other part of our work is to help broadcasters from around the world, which are more than 100, who have the rights for the Games, to customize our production and to do shows for their own country, for their own athletes. So it is a pretty massive operation and quite complex in the sense that needs to be well coordinated with the rest of the functions of the Games. During the summer edition, we have 7,000 people working for us, coming from more than 90 different countries because of the diversity of the talent that you need, the diversity of the sports and so on. But also we take great pride in running really an operation which is so universal as the Olympics themselves. The major challenge, I think, always is to try and adapt the concept that you have for the production and the services we provide to the realities of each hosting countries. It's never easy, and the Olympic Games by themselves are so big and so complex that are quite unique, and there is no really a blueprint. I mean, we rely on people who are very experienced, but we rely on them not in order to replicate what they did in the previous Games, but in order to have the capacity to understand what you need to do in the specific environment. Because doing, as ourselves, we do Games within 4 or 6 years in places like Beijing, Sochi, London, Rio, are completely different environments, equally interesting. I wouldn't say that any of those are easy, but it's always very important to try and identify what are the real risks in each specific area and what are also the opportunities, and try to do the production of the Games as the athletes doing what they do, remembering that the Olympic world is about excellence, so trying to be exemplary in the way we operate, in the relationships with our staff, the way our staff operate, to be incredibly respectful of the Games and of the host city and the host country that puts so much into this production. Ultimately, it's to do justice to a country that is doing such a huge effort, and this is a big responsibility. My main advice for anybody who would be working today, or especially younger people who would start to work, is to assume that there will be no such a thing as a permanent job description in the years to come. I think people, the description of the job that people are doing will be changing probably every 5, 6 or 7 years. So they need to be prepared for a changing environment and to organize themselves for that. Now, this will probably be a stressful thing, but on the other hand, I assume that people, especially young people who want to get into media, they also embrace change. I think that as personalities, they should be looking into change, into doing things in a different way, into a creative approach. So I think they shouldn't be scared by that, but they should see that as an opportunity. I would say that the main things that we would be looking for would be for them to be able to sustain their focus within an environment that can be stressful, but also that can be very, very distracting, and try to stay focused on the things that are important and not get distracted too much by noise, because there's a lot of noise. It's a very complex organization, and it's very easy to get distracted and consider as an important risk or an important opportunity. Things are not there. So staying focused, it's not a very easy thing, and it takes some special capacity. So I would say It goes without saying that to do the games you forget that you can be tired and so on, but I'm not worried about that because the games have so much energy and vibe that you never feel tired during the games. Now, after the game's a different story because you collapse. But I think the most important thing is to identify personalities that can maintain their cool and focus within an environment which can be chaotic.